Have you ever wondered why the darkness from the Yami Yami no Mi nullifies devil fruit powers just like the ocean does? It is without a doubt because the darkness from the Yami Yami no Mi is based on the darkness of the deep sea. And that's why Oda hides an abundance of clues in plain sight. Like the fact that Blackbeard's Kodo Uzu attack literally translates to darkness water. All of this symbolism of the Yami Yami no Mi being connected to water is purely intentional because Blackbeard is just like Luffy in more ways than I can count. But the most important one is that Luffy ate the sun god fruit disguised as a regular fruit, much like how Blackbeard ate the rain god fruit disguised as a regular fruit. This theory video today is filled with concrete facts and evidence that is going to blow your mind. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to never miss the best One Piece theory videos on all of YouTube. So the first thing we need to address is the nature of Zoan devil fruits. In chapter 1044, we saw the Gorosei have a conversation amongst themselves in which they regarded the Zoan devil fruits as having a will of their own. At first, they tried to make it seem like an idea, but one of the Gorosei jumped in and they were like, no, this is pure facts. And yes, the context of this conversation was regarding the sun god Nika fruit, the one that Luffy ate, but we need to ask ourselves, does this apply to devil fruits outside of the context? And the answer is yes, but there is only one other devil fruit that this kind of idea applies to. In chapter 440, when Blackbeard was fighting Ace, he told Ace that the ability chose him. This is one of those nuggets of gold that Oda hides in the story, those little facts, those little information that end up being so big in the future hundreds of chapters later in advance. There's a lot of examples of this. For an example, Luffy telling Momonosuke he's not a Zoan. Oda loves to throw in these little details, these little clues that make up the bigger picture of what's going on. So when Blackbeard tells Ace the ability chose me, this is Oda's way of implying that Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi is actually a Zoan. And we could even apply this to Luffy. How did the sun god Nika fruit make its way to Luffy? How did it end up on the counter? How did Luffy eat it? Again, Oda already gave us the answer. Zoans have a will of their own. These fruits make their way to the person who is most worthy of eating the devil fruit. Now I kind of want to branch off for a second. Let's talk about the gods of One Piece. During Skypiea, we were prompted by a page talking about the sun god, rain god, forest god, earth god, and at the time we kind of overlooked it. We thought it was just the lore of Skypiea, the lore of Shandora. We'll come to find out during the story time and time again, we were shown and told that there is a sun god by the name of Nika. Now this puts into jeopardy, this puts into question, what about the three other gods? If there can be a sun god Nika, then there should be a forest god, a rain god, and an earth god. Like Luffy did turn out to be sun god Nika, he turned out to be the sun god. So why couldn't other characters in the story be gods too? Like keep in mind, even the Gorosei is catching wind of this. They know that the Gomu Gomu no Mi was renamed from the sun god Nika fruit, and they know that Luffy ate the fruit, making Luffy a sun god. So again, it is fair to argue that those three other named gods will be characters in the story. And I would even go as far as to argue that Blackbeard is labeled as the rain god. Now, one of my biggest beliefs about Blackbeard, and more specifically the Yami Yami no Mi, is that this fruit is hiding really important facts and details. Like for an example, I don't believe the Yami Yami no Mi is regular darkness. I believe it is deep sea darkness. And we see when people have sea prism stone cuffs on and when they're being drowned, their powers are nullified, just like the Yami Yami no Mi. Why would Oda add these two little items in the story if they weren't connected? And that's my point. The Yami Yami no Mi's darkness is deep sea darkness specifically. Now there's certain attacks by Blackbeard that we can analyze to make this case even stronger. For an example, Blackbeard's attack Kuro Uzu literally translates to darkness water. At this point, it is right in front of our face. This devil fruit acts just like water. There's powers named after water. It is connected to the sea. One other thing that kind of popped into my head is we all know that Blackbeard versus Ace is almost like light versus dark. But if Blackbeard is the god of the rain, then maybe this is also fire versus water. Now we can actually bridge the gap between god of the rain and this whole kind of aquatic, this whole kind of water thing with Blackbeard's fruit. And that is because ocean water gets carried up into the atmosphere, and that's what creates rain. Very simple concept, very symbolic, very Oda-like. So it seems like the Yami Yami no Mi is the god of the rain, and this is why it acts like water, nullifying devil fruit powers. Now a lot of people will say that Blackbeard's devil fruit is based off gravity, but again, let's take a look at the Kuro Uzu attack. We know through the Straw Hat journey to Fishman Island, gravity underwater is a real thing, and honestly it's eerily similar to the Yami Yami no Mi. The darkness, nullifying powers, pulling you down like gravity. Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi is going to be based on the depth of the ocean. Now one cool thing is that recent One Piece chapters add to this whole idea idea even further. Vegapunk tells us that Mother Nature cursed devil fruits, and that's basically why those power users end up drowning and they're weak to water, which again, this is how the Yami Yami no Mi acts. So if the rain is connected to the sea, perhaps the personification of Mother Nature or the sea in One Piece is the Yami Yami no Mi. Now, one cool tidbit piece of information for the Yami Yami no Mi is it's not like a traditional Logia fruit where you become intangible. If you look at Kizaru's Glint Glint fruit, Aokiji's Ice Ice fruit, or even Akainu's Magma fruit, those guys are turning intangible. But why doesn't the Yami Yami no Mi do the same thing? The Yami Yami no Mi behaves much differently from a traditional Logia, and I believe Occam's razor is the case for this curious question. When faced with two opposing explanations for the same set of evidence, our minds will usually prefer the explanation that makes the fewest assumptions. Meaning the simplest explanation as to why the Yami Yami no Mi doesn't act like a Logia is because it's not a Logia, it's a Zoan. Just like how his second side of the same coin, Luffy, actually had a Zoan fruit and it behaved very weird throughout the story, the same case will be for Blackbeard. Like, just take a look at Luffy, just take a look at the beginning of the story. Ever since chapter 1, we analyzed the appearance and wondered how it ended up in Luffy's hands. Oda then showed us in chapter 440 what Blackbeard's fruit looks like, and both its appearance and journey seems to be eerily similar to Luffy's. Like, look at these two fruits. Do they not look similar? Now let's quickly analyze these two devil fruits and how they got to their respective users. We know that Shanks attacked the world government for the Gomu Gomu no Mi, but we have to question why. Shanks was raised in the Roger Pirates, that was a hockey man culture, and Shanks grew old enough to make his own crew, which was again a hockey man culture. Shanks himself does not have a devil fruit. Everything about Shanks in his life is hockey. So why would he go out of his way to steal the Gomu Gomu no Mi unless he knew what it was, unless he knew what it meant? And then if we take a look at the Whitebeard Pirates, we know that they attacked quote unquote random people for the Yami Yami no Mi. It seems to be the same situation as Shanks. It seems like they were just attacking random people, they were attacking these ships, and they got these legendary devil fruits. Now I'm gonna throw a curveball at you that you weren't expecting. Perhaps back in the day, previous to Blackbeard eating the Yami Yami no Mi, Shanks and Blackbeard were fighting over both or one of these fruits. If they both look very similar and they're both gods of One Piece, it seems like this is something that Oda would set up. Like, honestly, they look so similar to each other that you could mix them up, you could be mistaken. And so could the characters in One Piece be. So now this is where we come full circle. Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Mi is the sun god in disguise, and Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi is the rain god in disguise. Now, seeing how Luffy's basically the embodiment of Joy Boy or sun god Nika because he ate that fruit, surely the same kind of thing would apply to Blackbeard. As you guys know, I was the one that originated the Blackbeard is an octopus theory through multiple videos. If you're curious to learn more, I have a link at the top right of the screen. But perhaps this is where it comes full circle again. With Blackbeard potentially being the god of the rain, you could easily connect this to the ocean. In chapter 604, Caribou says the legendary demon that roams the vast ocean, never tiring of slaughter it leaves in its wake, the enemy of all humanity, that beast is the Kraken. So perhaps the Yami Yami no Mi being the god of the rain is personified through an octopus or a Kraken, and this is exactly what's going on with Blackbeard. We also learned from Hody that Krakens are a legendary species, so therefore there's multiple of them in the One Piece story. So perhaps when sun god Nika became a fruit or a dog became a fruit, somewhere out there a Kraken or an octopus did the same thing and became a devil fruit. I think that'd be pretty interesting and likely, considering that Kashigami the snake was called a sun god. So again, maybe somewhere out there in the One Piece world there is a large Kraken called a rain god. This would have Blackbeard and Luffy mirror each other in another way, as if there's not already a plethora of ways that they parallel each other. Now, I have two more mind-blowing facts that will leave you sold on this god of the rain Kraken theory, so stay with me. Most of you guys know that Jolly Rogers in One Piece are basically symbolic of the captain. The Straw Hat Pirates have a Jolly Roger featuring a straw hat, the Fire Tank Pirates have a Jolly Roger featuring a castle. All of the flags, all of the Jolly Rogers in One Piece are symbolic of the captain. Now we have to wonder, why does Blackbeard's flag have 3 skulls and 8 bones? I believe this is the biology of an octopus, since they have 3 hearts and 8 tentacles. This could easily explain why Blackbeard's able to have multiple devil fruits, because of his altered lineage factor from eating a devil fruit. Now this gets even deeper. Let's take a look at Blackbeard's current bounty in the story. It is 3,996,000,000 berries. Now in Japanese culture, they have something called gorowase, which is basically number puns. It is not exclusive to One Piece, but Oda uses it all the time. This is a staple in Japan. Lots of authors play around with number puns. Now if you break down on Blackbeard's bounty, you get 3996 or San Kokoro. Now the mind-blowing thing is when you translate San, you get 3, and when you translate Kokoro, you get hearts. 3 hearts. Oda is hiding this in plain sight right in front of you all. The Yami Yami no Mi is the god of the rain, and the personification of it is a kraken.